Hey everybody, it's your suburban garden permaculture style guy, and we are coming at you from the messy backyard. Once again, we are still leaving this homestead. I have to remind myself of that. It's just starting to get awesome, and it is time to move on. Oh, my kitty, this is so big. So, I'm going to give you another rundown of the yard, how everything is looking. This is literally the best year of this whole thing, and of course I'm trying to leave it now. So, catnip really did good. I'm surprised. We got kitty, so we grew catnip, and that worked out real well. I don't know if y'all have wondered what any of this stuff is. I know I've mentioned it a time or two. Oregano in the middle, two peppermints on either side, actually like spearmint. Some parsley. We got a hair to grow parsley, and it actually worked out. Thyme, sage plants, individual sages, another sage. And some thyme growing this amaranth that grows wild in my yard from the seedling. I let it stay in there. So when we transferred the thyme in there, there's various little things in pots. Basils are still alive. One of her flowered thingy-mabobs. More thyme, more parsley, actually. It's looking really good. Sweet potatoes, petunias, not looking so hot. Rosemary we repotted and brought up and put some different soil in. Still trying to get lavender to perennialize. These things are starting to come back. You've probably seen these at the beginning of the video several times and never really seen any production off of them because we haven't either. They were leftover plants, and I actually cut this back way down here somewhere. I was looking for the cut. But I cut the plants back because they had grown really tall during the heat of summer, and they weren't producing any tomatoes, so there was no point to keep the plants that tall. So I cut them way back, and the plants have grown back up. That's what it is. That's what I was looking for. I cut them back way down here, so all of this is all grown up since the summer again. And it's only now actually able to set flowers, even though they've been putting flowers out. It's been over 95 degrees. It's been in the hundreds. They won't make tomatoes at that temperature. So I hope to start seeing something. Rome Kitty, I made him a little platform, or both of them, a little clubhouse. So they done figured out how to get on the roof. The biggest one got in the neighbor's yard, couldn't get out for a couple hours because it's smooth on their side of the fence. Kitties have been fun so far. Amaranth growing wild next to the cucumber bucket. Cucumber bucket's starting to look good. Yeah, it's starting to look good. We still have all these seedlings from before the pandemic started. There's still a bunch of stuff still alive. The peppers we cut back down because they've been left in these pots forever. And then I cut them back down. I told her that, yeah, they'll produce. You cut them back down real hard, they'll regrow, and they did. I cut them all down the same height. Still got kales and stuff. Some of the blackberries will be taken with us, obviously. I have started cutting down some of the sunflowers. Look at this weather. Oh my God. I know I'm excited. I'm excited because it's not 100 degrees out here. I have started cutting down some sunflowers, not all of them. I'm going to turn and look this way. I don't prepare my yard for the videos. I see that there's trash and debris over here, and I'm going to show you anyway because that's what was in the yard. Some of the stuff is windblown. Some of the stuff is because I feed the black soldier flies, and then I set stuff down up here, and then the wind knocks it off, and that's my fault. Rotisserie chicken. I actually left that there because it was catching some bugs that were getting out of here. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. They're still kicking behind, you know, still getting all the food. Chickens are still eating watermelon, so the bugs, often as they want, come out and slice some. This guy was a little underripe, and we'd set it on the counter too long. The seeds started germinating. It's just a little overripe. It was mealy, but it was sweet, and they're screaming at me. So I've been feeding them that kind of things. Oh, my cute kittens. The machine is still has stuff on it. Still going down. Uh-oh, he's about to do something. Well, get him. Skid him, kid. Skid him. That was weak, bro. Okay, zinnias are starting to kick butt. Then all the extra zinnias we just planted in everywhere. They look kind of pretty. The chickens are doing their chicken thing. That one chicken in that last video that's been submitting has continued to do so. If she gets into our yard, I can usually make her sit down and catch her and get her out. Well, y'all quit just barking at me. She just did it. Sit down. That's crazy. I'm not gonna hurt you. Get out of here. All right, go. The okra. We planted 2 rows by seed during the heat and had the shade cloth over. I took the shade cloth off everything in the last couple days. The wind's been blowing, so there's a gap here from the wind's been blowing these things away. I haven't been tying them back as well as I could have. Well, let's see if I can pet you. I bet that'll make you go away. Y'all chickens ain't supposed to let me grab you. I don't know if Mother Nature ever told you about that. Look at all them feathers. Good Lord, you got... Look at my kids having a mullet. All that extra material on your head. Anyway, Anaheim peppers, which we're really fond of because one of the first times we ever grew them, we started stuffing them with stuff and grilling them. And oh my gosh, that was amazing. Anaheims are really good for that. Okra, because we want to try to pick okra before the end of the year. Some of these little guys are, and there's some skipping, and there's some in between these kales, is celery, some of the plants we had. So I interspaced some more kales and some more celeries. green beans, and this is green beans, pole beans, mixed in with some cucumbers also, so we'll see if that'll trellis up. I can see the spider mites are already coming back up them. I mean, you can see all the yellowing and the dots. That's from spider mites. And like this leaf right here is a good example, that yellowish one. You can see all the white dots. Those are spider mite wounds. I've been spraying neem oil, castle soap. I have actually used Malathion a while back because I knew it would be so long before they fruited. You can see how that fell over in there. I need to pull all that back. But I haven't gotten a lot off of these. I mean, they're making tomatoes and stuff. It was so hot that none of this stuff fruit. I mean, look at all these flowers, guys. Look at all these tomato flower clusters. There's thousands of them, but there's no tomatoes because it was so hot when it made all these flowers. And you can see the heads, and there's just no tomatoes on them. Some of these might actually end up with some tomatoes because they formed when it was a little cooler. But yeah, I feel like there's one random tomato. These should be loaded. There's a few on this cluster right here, right? And some greens that are starting to happen at the tips. Here, good Lord. For the love of God, here, take these. All right, now get out of here. Like they'll listen, like my kids. Oh, it's got a little wound on it. Still tasted good. A little bite off of it. Okay, get out of my way, ladies. Come on. Come on, ladies. Move around. Bump it on down. Let's start on this side, because I always end up ending on this side. There's not a lot to look at. I did harvest Asian pears off. The squirrels are continuing to take apples here and there because I still haven't harvested them all off. Didn't get, oh yeah, some of the bags fell off because they got blossom end rot from it being so dry and then wet. It's just hard to get these things. Look, you see chickens been scratching. Chickens have been getting in my boxes, scratching at my roots. They've started disrespecting these fences as they've gotten bigger. That's okay. When we move, you girls are going to be in a very different location away from my orchard. That will no longer be something that's done side by side, per se. Asian pears turned out really great. This thing I'm really proud of. That was the most delicious pear I've ever ate in my life. And I swear to you, when you bite into it, you're like, how did they put brown sugar in here? Like, why would I have the flavor of brown sugar in my pear? Look at this. You know, that really just rages me out a little bit because it's like you're screwing up my roots. You know what? You give everything in the world given to you, and you got to have more. I'm gonna want damn. You still don't mind, do you? You just keep coming back. I don't know. I give them everything, and they still keep doing this mess. Some of them, again, I think this is blossom and rot from getting wet and then being so dry. I mean, we've eaten some, and that's a nice one right there. But we haven't even harvested them all off. Again, right now, the priority isn't even there anymore since we're gonna be moving. Everything's still looking good around here, though. You see the chickens have really been pawing around back here. Random amaranth growing. These trees, I'm sure they probably had spider mites on them too. You're looking at the leaves, but it doesn't really cause as much damage to such big trees. It's like you really can't. Why are you in there? There you go. Get out of there. Hey, number one effective chicken technique. Gets them every time. Yeah, so the figs. Oh, my figs. I'm going to miss you. Definitely not going to miss you because I'm going to be taking you with me. Put those little balls on there and root them. You can see, I've been clearing out sunflowers. Just let them down. They break down so fast. This huge amount of stuff broke down to a little pile. It's not going to be a big deal to get rid of it all. And I'm not tripping over stumps because I use a sawzall and I saw them off as level to the ground as possible so you don't come out here and dunk and kick stumps everywhere you walk. That's very important. We're going to try to continue to garden out, obviously. I'm not going to stop this yet. And I'm probably even going to show the house with gardens in it because I don't see why not. I mean, if there's somebody's like, oh my God, look at all this. Well, you won't see all the sunflowers. Y'all will see it. And it's going to be like, well, look, if you don't see what's here, then I ain't got time to talk to you anyway. You know what? Bump on down. I got other people to talk to. I ain't really too worried about it. I'm pretty sure someone's going to go, babe, they've already got all this stuff started. Oh my God, we don't even have to do all this stuff. Yeah, I'm waiting. They're coming. I know they are. I'm not worried. So this lady here has done some suffering. The transplant I know is the right thing to do, but the root ball was rotting from before. I've been really closely examining this morning. I don't see any new growth tips. Like there's just nothing erupting that I found yet that really shows me this plant's recovering. This one is, and the one behind it from their transplant, so I know the transplant went successfully and is starting to help them. You see new growing tips. Look, new growing tips let me see where the camera is. Okay, there it is. You see these new growing tips starting to erupt. That is a sign of new life that the plants weren't expressing just the other day. And again, new tips. You can hear Mama calling for their kitties. Brand new little green tips. Tells me the plant is starting to recuperate from the transplant and from the fact that it wasn't growing as well because it was in a bad situation. Look at all those new growth tips. This was a whole new shoot. After I fertilized one time, it threw out all these new shoots right here, and then they stalled in growth. They just stopped growing. Now that I've transplanted it, and it's been a week or two or whatever, I don't even know how long, honestly, they're starting to regrow. And this one, who was doing the worst of all of them, is regrowing really well. Look at this. This is so soft and new. Like, this much has grown in the last day or so. It's just paper thin, super soft, super lush growth. It's doing that in several places. Again, you can see where growth stalled, transplant time, and then this is all since transplant. And it's really erupting now. Considering, let's see, you can see this new growth. Considering this is supposed to be the world's largest mandarin because it was crossed with a pomelo, which is a relative of a grapefruit, which is huge. These are going to be gigantic mandarins, so this tree is probably going to be large, just like the navel orange is showing itself to be a larger, more robust tree because it has a larger fruit that it has to take care of. Got a little bit of damage on the avocado leaves, not much. They're starting to re-erupt. They kind of go through stages of growth. Avocados. This guy, I didn't do it repotted, but I did throw some of that citrus fertilizer, the citrus tone, and just as I threw some citrus tone organic fertilizer on it, it started regrowing. And you can tell because there's some new growth at the tips that's just a little fresher than the growth under it. And that is post-fertilization. Citrus responds well to fertilization. Or, you know, a lot of good things. Anything good, they usually respond to it. The Meyer lemon, still looking great. Can't wait to take all these guys with me. There is at least 12 lemons down here in the bottom. And people say not to let them do that, but I don't see why. 1, 2, 3, 4, right on that little shoot. There's a little shoot with 4 lemons right there. There's a cluster of several in the back here. I mean, there's lots of them. There's one kitty right there. That's Grunt. Let's see how his eyes look. He looks like Groucho Marx, y'all. He's got like a straight line, like he's got a unibrow. You see? Kitty. See, he looks like he's angry all the time. His brother doesn't have that shape to his eyes, so it's definitely just him. Look at this green shoot. This is shot up since the fertilization all the way up to there. Yeah, and it's just this organic citrus tone. It's some of it sitting right here at the top. I can kind of see it, but it works really well. So I took the cover off of this morning. There's no more need for it. The weather, I hope it didn't stop. The weather has broken. It's not going to get to 106 and 8 for weeks at a time anymore, so I'm good. I see that and I start thinking spider mites. See those little spider webs? The blueberries are doing awesome. Somebody's going to get to enjoy my blueberries, and that's sad for me. Let me pull that through. I don't like that. So all these shoots that are coming up, and you can see this moving the dirt. The plant is spreading. This is a sign of health and vitality. It's spreading. It's creating new suckers that are going to create new fruiting branches. This thing for next year is going to be a beast. And that's going to be great. When we show this house, if you were coming to look at this house and you didn't know anything about us, you would walk back here and see this yard covered in blueberries, blackberries. We're going to be selling it at the time when everything's going to be fruiting or flowering. The early stuff will be there already. Mulberries. The fruiting mulberry will be loaded with berries. That fruiting mulberry will be loaded with berries. There'll be flowers on a lot of stuff. It's going to be great. Somebody's going to really understand what they got in the spring. So, look at this massive amaranth. This is why I like this stuff. I don't know why on earth